Well, good morning. I am Reverend Karin Lewis. I'm one of the senior ministers here at it is such an emotional day today. So I am getting it out of the way, and then we can, focus on joy. Please don't take a picture while the tears go. It is such a joyous day to be here. I, too, want to welcome all of those who are here for the first time, for those who are coming back, for those who are resonating with something that is happening here at the New Vision Center as we reveal the power of love in the world. So thank you. I am so glad I'm amongst friends. And I know that everyone is watching us online is also in this vortex. And one of the things that I have learned, and it is so interesting, I really need to listen to my own talks. When we open up to joy, to that emotion of joy, it shows up, right? Have you noticed that? When we enter our day and we see the good that is happening in the world, if we take a stand for the good that is happening right where we are, all of the emotions are coming up. And we recognize that this life is joy. It reminds me of, I think it was Albert Einstein who said, there's a time in everyone's life where they have to make a decision to either believe that this is a hostile universe or this is a friendly universe. There comes a time in everyone's life where we have to take a stand. Do I believe that the allness of life, that which is greater than I am, is there for my good? Or is it something that I have to fight for? Or position myself for? Or be a certain way to receive it? And we say no. In this teaching, we take a stand that there's a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. Those are the words of Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of this teaching. He would say that every time he started his radio show. Imagine with me for a moment if we would wake up and that be our first thought. There's a power for good in the universe, greater than I am, and I can use it. Imagine how different our days would be. How different we would hear the news. How different we would have that interaction that might be a little challenging. So that is where we're going today. The title of my talk is This Life is Joy. And I think I would like to start with all of us saying an affirmation together. And the affirmation is, I am willing to receive joy. Please say it with me. I am willing to receive joy. Again, I am willing to receive joy. Yes, yes. Well, somebody had a birthday yesterday, and she is willing to receive joy. Yeah, you can flip over. Oh, it's my granddaughter. She is 1 year old. And there is this wonderful quote by Dr. Ernest Holmes. And I invite you to maybe close your eyes and listen to this. Listen to the words. The kingdom of God is at hand. The riches, power, glory, and might of this kingdom are yours today. You do not rob others by entering into the fullness of your kingdom of joy. your kingdom of abundance. But you must recognize that all people belong to the same kingdom. You merely claim for yourself what you want the divine spirit to do for everyone. Yes. Yeah. So this points to when we claim joy for ourselves, it behooves us to claim joy for those we don't agree with. If we claim to be loved and to feel that we belong, we also claim that for everyone else. For we cannot ask Spirit to show up in one place and not show up in all places. Could that be a spiritual practice for some of us? Right? So Dr. Ernest Holmes wrote those words about 100 years ago, a little less than 100 years ago. If we want to look into older writings that point to that this life is joy, we go to the Upanishads. They were written about 800 before the Common Era, so that's like 2,800 years ago. And there it says, from joy it has come, by joy it is sustained, and to joy it shall return. The end. Now, I don't know about you, but there are times where I don't question that this life is joy. I don't question that there's a power for good greater than I am out in the universe. But sometimes there's something in between me and the realization of that, me and the experience of it. And so I ask myself, I have this faith. I know with everything of my being that this life is joy. What can I do when I don't feel it? And I came across these 5 obstacles, blockages to enter the kingdom that Dr. Ernest Holmes talks about. And those 5 blockages are judgment, comparison, worry, hustle, and conflict. So let's start by asking, and you don't have to raise your hand, but just answer this question for yourself. Do I believe that this life is joy? Just answer that question for yourself. Because if we get to the place that we all believe that, then let's take a look at what gets in the way. Are you ready for that journey? All right. Great. Well, let's start with the first one, judgment. The biggest blockage on our way to experience the kingdom of God, the kingdom of good, the kingdom of joy, is judgment. When we decide that something is negative, uncaring, bad, yucky, why would she do that? How come he does that? It's this emotion that rises up within us. And then what happens often, and here is where the challenge lies, we then think that that is truth. Imagine you see someone's entire life, you see just one little part of it, which may be their best or it might be their worst, we don't know. But when we judge it, when we say, oh, this is who this person is, then we think this is all the person is. Can you see that that can get us into trouble when we want to open up to receive the good of the divine? Yes. Now there is this important distinction between judgment and discernment. And the way we can figure this out is judgment. When judgment comes, when we are in judgment, it is closing us off. It is halting life. Versus if we are discerning and we say, you know, that is not for me. I choose to not be in this energy. We feel open and lighter. I found this poem by the famous author, Unknown. And it says this, judge not. Where have we heard that? I have a feeling like we heard that from somebody, a master teacher. Judge not. I was shocked, confused, bewildered as I entered heaven's door, not by the beauty of it all, nor the lights or its decor, but it was the folks in heaven who made me sputter and gasp, the thieves, the liars, the sinners, the alcoholics, and the trash. There stood the kid from 7th grade who swiped my lunch money twice. Next to him was my old neighbor who never said anything nice. Herb, who I always thought was rotting in hell, was sitting pretty on cloud 9, looking incredibly well. I nudged St. Peter. What's the deal? I would love to hear your take. How'd all these sinners get up here? God must have made a mistake. And why is everyone so quiet, so somber? Give me a clue. Hush, child, he said. They are all in shock. No one thought they'll be seeing you. Judgment. I think I leave it right there. So then what is in judgment? What can we look for when we feel that it's coming up for us? We look for the gift of discernment. Discernment within ourselves, discernment on how we want to design our life. What is the person that I want to be? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? That is the gift. The second obstacle on our way to realize the kingdom of good even more is comparison. Ay, 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 ay. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Why would I even try to do this when so-and-so already did it so much better than I could ever do it? Comparison points to our experience of self-worth. The more we hear ourselves comparing us to another, the greater the yearning for self-love. Let's take a breath into that. The greater the yearning for self-love, for accepting exactly who I am. When we do that, we can come to any project, any experience, any relationship from a place of groundedness, of acceptance. This is who I am. Emotions, using funky English words at times. This is the only Karin I can be. When we come to a place to accept and to be willing to let people see us, whatever we deem less than perfect, that is where the healing takes place. And so what is the gift? What is the gift of comparison? It is the gift of collaboration. We're seeing it here at the New Vision Center, don't we? We see it. Not just in the leadership, having 2 senior ministers, but it's rippling out through the entire community. People are willing to come and give their gifts. This is what I have to offer, they say. I would like to lead here. I would like to step into this. Can I do that? Yes. Yes. That is the beauty of collaboration, of co-creating with, ultimately, we all co-creating with the divine. But to have a place where we can work it out, walk it out together. All right, let's see. Oh, worry. One time I gave a talk about the worry worm. I don't know if you remember that, but it's the worry worm. We do know who our worriers are, don't we? We have people in our life, they worry. I have a mother who worries. That is her expression of love. I see a lot of people going, oh, I have the same mother. Yes. Research has shown that whatever amount of worrying we are doing, it does not prepare us for when something bad happens. It doesn't. I think we have this idea that if I worry enough, if I imagine all the bad things that could happen, then if they happen, I will be prepared. Research shows that is not the case. That is not the case. Rather, it is important to find our own spiritual practice, our own way of filling ourselves up with so much faith that whatever happens, I trust that I will know how to be with it. One time I heard someone say that to worry about something that hasn't happened is like paying interest on money you haven't borrowed yet. I'm like, oh, I like that. So the next time when worry shows up, so hope that you hearken back to this and say, oh, I am not willing to pay interest on money I haven't even borrowed yet. I am not willing to spend my precious now moment worrying about something that may or may not happen in the future. Now, what is the gift? What is the gift that we can realize about worry? There's our favorite word. Yeah, the gift of surrender. What are we surrendering into? We surrender into the power for good that is greater than we are. And where is that power? It is at the very center of who we are. That is what we surrender into. Our connection, our communion with the divine. So that was the third obstacle in our exploration about how can we realize this life of joy. And the next one is an interesting one. It's this idea of hustle. You know how we hustle for something? How we really try to make something so? How we want to catch up with whatever it is that we think we should have? And this motion of wanting to grab it, when joy might come and pass by, and we want to grab it, and we want to have it. And the harder we try, the more it eludes us. We want it so hard. And what does David Thoreau say? He says, sit down. Sit down. Place your attention on something different. Open up. And before you know it, joy is going to be with you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sandra. This is what happens when you walk in and there are fairy wings, and you say, what are those fairy wings for? Thank you so much. Hustle. In this teaching, we say whatever is our good is going to come to us. And it is what Ernest Holmes says in that first quote, right? When we enter the kingdom of our good, we are not taking anything away from anybody else. Because the only good we can receive is ours. That is the only good we can receive. And so what is the gift that we want to recognize when we find ourselves hustling? Here we, at the New Vision Center, we have this wonderful process that we call consensus. And we always ask ourselves 3 questions, right? Does it fit the vision? Is the motive pure? And the third one is, does it feel forced? Does it feel forced? That is what I think about when I hear hustling. You know, I'm trying to force something. I'm trying to make something happen. And we all know the different feeling if we are in the place of allowing, or if we're trying to force something. So when we feel that this hustle energy comes up, sit down, pray, meditate, stop, breathe. The more we are able to do that, the clearer our next steps become. The clearer what is mine to do reveals itself. It is as if a door opens where I didn't even see there was one before. Those are the gifts that allowing can bring to us. And the 5th and final obstacle for us to enter into the kingdom of good is conflict. Conflict. We are humans. We are on this journey learning stuff, and we step on each other's toes, don't we? Just me? No, come on. Yeah, we experience conflict. Sometimes because we are very unskilled in a new territory. We want to bring forward something different, and we are unskilled, and in this unskilledness, we say things, we do things, we hurt one another. That happens. It happens every day, all of the time, in everyone's life. We cannot have this life experience and not hurt another, or get hurt, and get hurt. That is a fact of the human nature. So when we can't change anything about that, and of course the more we become aware, the less we are doing it. The more we become aware, the less severe the pain we inflict on one another is. And at the end of the day, things happen. And we have an amazing tool to clean up the mess. Anybody want to take a guess? Forgiveness, I heard it. Yes. Forgiveness. I strongly believe that the more we practice forgiving every person in our lives for everything that ever happened, it is a practice for us to do the real work, and that is to forgive ourselves. To forgive ourselves. Forgiveness. Many, many books have been written. Many, many different paths of how to reach that feeling of, I see it, I recognize what happened, I choose to never experience that again, I forgive the other person, I forgive myself. It is opening the prison doors, the prison of our own making. It gives us freedom. It gives us freedom. You have heard us, and you will hear in the announcements, we are teaching again the Freedom Through Forgiveness class. If there's anything in your life that you would like to have a more free experience about it, feel into taking that class. This life is joy. There's no question. Gesundheit. There's a power greater than we are for good in the universe. No question. And the more we are willing to take a look at these obstacles, the more wider opens the door. So the next time we feel judgment, let us practice laying it down. The next time we feel that we are comparing ourselves to another, let it go. When worry comes, know that it is yearning to recognize more faith in your life. If you find yourself hustling, trying to grab onto something, not willing to allow the change that is up to take place, practice allowing. And every time someone walks through your mind and is not safe, because they hurt you or you hurt them. Practice forgiveness. These stepping stones will deliver us all straight into the kingdom of good. And so it is. This brings us to this practice of praying, our form of affirmative prayer. Now I invite all of the practitioners to please stand with me, holding the deep knowingness of the allness of life, of sweet spirit of God being all there is. Infinite good, eternal love, and as we open our entire being to recognize this truth about ourselves, we recognize that we have always been guarded, guided, and directed by sweet spirit, the center of who we are. And the more we can say yes to this truth, the deeper, the stronger we enter into this kingdom. We recognize it as love and light, as peace, as harmony, as joy. As we feel the emotions overflowing, trusting that all is well. I am, we are, God is. And so on this day, we breathe in joy into our own lives. For we recognize as we allow joy into this moment, and into this moment, and into this moment, it creates a day of joy, a year of joy, a life of joy. And as we fill up to overflowing, we share this joy out with the world, sending this truth to an area, to a specific home or heart, just giving it away. The joy of living, the joy of having this opportunity to make a difference in our world. How grateful I am. How very, very grateful to be right here with these beloveds, knowing this truth. And so we call it good and very, very good. And so it is.